looking deep down the left side. Mendeville into the end zone. Touchdown!
Down the sideline, still Foley. Foley pointing to the house.
And the players streaming from the sideline to celebrate with 17 seconds left.
Welcome, everybody, to BVarsity Live for Thursday, February the 23rd. Zach Ewing and Trevor Horn in the house, and later on we're going to have some wrestlers from Frontier, some basketball players from
Okay, I'm good now. Let's start.
West High. There he is.
Let's start.
There's Scott Cox is
Deaf.
legally deaf, I
Legally
think.
deaf.
And so Trevor had to turn me down. Also, I'm short. Maybe I should pump my chair up here.
You got a nice haircut.
Chris is going to take care of that for me too. So yeah, maybe
Hey, buddy.
Francis is there. I am. Francis is tall. Scott's deaf. I'm the only normal one around here. You're hairy.
You're normal?
I know, scary thought.
Yeah, I don't like the new normal.
So anyway, we've got Frontier Wrestling in the house. We got West High boys basketball in the house. As everybody knows who follows high school sports, it's a big time of year. One of the busiest times of year. Really, this week and next week might be the busiest 2 weeks we have all year with everything going on. Outside of maybe a couple weeks in May. Fall's a little more spread out.
No, I will go ahead and say that this is the busiest because not only do we have the basketball, soccer, wrestling playoffs winding down and gearing up, if you want to say it. Big track meet tomorrow over at Liberty time trials. Terrio Classic starts tomorrow.
I think softball Clovis invite is coming up.
Yeah, so I mean, you've got spring sports off and running really.
Girls wrestling, add that in now.
Yeah,
They've got
girls
state
wrestling state
tomorrow.
championships start tomorrow up in Visalia. I'll be out there on Saturday. So I really do think that this week and next week is the busiest time of the year for us.
There's probably one day in spring that might be the busiest day. There's a day in May, a Saturday, where you have swimming section finals, track section finals, baseball playoffs, and tennis section final. I think all in one day. But other than that one day, this is over 2 weeks, a very, very busy stretch. And so let's get right into it. We're going to talk soccer first. Soccer is the farthest, along with wrestling, I guess, the farthest along in its postseason.
Do you want to talk soccer or do you want to talk some breaking news right now?
Oh, and that's the other thing is we got the silly season for high school football too, coaching season. And Trevor, you were able to unearth a couple of updates there.
Yeah, thanks to the TEHACHAPI Sports Twitter account, we can confirm that TEHACHAPI will name Doug DeGear the new football coach for the Warriors, replacing Steve Denman, who, as everybody knows, 300 career wins.
Easy guy to replace.
Yeah, 35 years
at
up at TEHACHAPI, Bob Elias Hall of Famer. So DeGear, who is a TEHACHAPI graduate and an honors English teacher up on campus and has also been coaching JV baseball and frosh soft football. Once the board approves it, will be the new football coach at TEHACHAPI. And we have sources that have confirmed that Frontier has narrowed their football search to Chris Bandy, who is offensive coordinator at Ridgeview, along with Rick Van Horn, who helped lead Liberty to a small school football title a little over a decade ago in 2000, 2001
it's been
time
15
period.
years ago now.
Yeah, so, a BHS Hall of Famer along with Chris Bandy as the two candidates that, according to their athletic director, will be either today or tomorrow or early next week. That decision will be made who the new head coach of Frontier will be.
And it's interesting, too. You look at Rick Van Horn, and as far as experience goes, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more experienced coach in Kern County now that Steve Denman is retired anyway. And then Chris Bandy, not saying he's inexperienced, but he's a younger guy, has not been a head coach before. And so sort of two ends of the extreme there where you've got Rick Van Horn, who's held every job under the sun, including head coach, and Chris Bandy, sort of that young up-and-coming coach.
Well, and that guy that has the offensive mind for the new age of football.
Yeah, two pretty good choices, though, I have to say.
Very good choices.
So Frontier doing well for itself there.
And then we're still waiting to hear who Foothill. You all right, bub?
I don't know what's going on today.
Jeez, man. You want
just
to go
knock
take a
myself
nap?
in the face.
And then we're still waiting to hear who Foothill will hire as their new head coach after Jason Oliver resigned. J.O. is now an assistant coach over at Liberty, so we'll see.
That's going to make a terrific GIF later if you could make it of me knocking the mic into my own face. Yeah.
Deal.
Chris said he got it, so yeah. I'm not exactly sure how that happened. I think there was some resistance here on the stand, and then all of a sudden it gave.
I'll give you some resistance.
Yeah. Well, you do that every single day. Now we'll go into soccer, and the section it's an odd thing because of all the rainouts, and the girls got their quarterfinals done last week, and most boys brackets did not, but some boys brackets did.
Some did, some didn't. Yeah.
Some are playing championships tomorrow. The one Kern County championship of note tomorrow would be in girls soccer. ARVIN is at Rosamond in the Division 6 championship.
Yep.
An all Kern County final. And then most of the boys finals that involve Kern County teams will be next week. They'll be on Tuesday. We got semifinals coming tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go ahead and run with the boys soccer slides, Chris. So there we have D3 tomorrow. Ridgeview hosting MADERA South. Ridgeview, the defending D3 champs. They will play DINUBA, who beat Independence already in the semifinals. So Ridgeview, with the win, will host DINUBA for the D3 to repeat as D3 champs, but they got to get through MADERA South tomorrow night. Start time 6 p.m.
It's been a little bit of before we go on, a little bit of a disappointing postseason for local teams. No Division I or Division II teams remain in boys or girls soccer.
No.
So that's Ridgeview
and you're
boys
talking
and
about
D3
and you're talking about semifinals.
Yeah,
on the boys'
not even
side.
finals, and in the girls, the only teams that made it to the final are those two D6 teams, ARVIN and Rosamond. So it's been a disappointing postseason in a lot of ways, and you know what? In soccer, sometimes one game will get you.
And the thing is too is that
Liberty lost to Clovis West in PKs on the boys' side, talking about, and Clovis West in the semis. I don't think anybody would tell you before the postseason started that Clovis West was a better team than Liberty, but on that given night, they were able to play them even and then beat them in PK. So
yeah, and then you look at BHS; they lost 1-0 to Clovis North in a home game for the Drillers over at East High on Tuesday. So I mean, it's a funky year because you look at the weather conditions, and you know when you're playing in mud, really kind of skill sometimes gets taken out of the equation because you're playing a lot of times with luck in the sport of soccer when it's really muddy like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
D4, ARVIN hosting KERMAN. Good, we talk about disappointments. Good season for boys and girls soccer for ARVIN. The boys are in the semifinals hosting KERMAN tomorrow night while the girls are out in Rosamond for the D6 finals. So the winner here will play the winner, McLean-Lindsay. If Lindsay wins, ARVIN will be on the road. If McLean wins, ARVIN's at home.
And again, that final would be Tuesday. And then
D5, CHAVEZ, the 1 seed hosting COALINGA tonight. CHAVEZ hasn't played in a week because they played last Friday. They won their quarterfinal match because they played at Kennedy, who has an artificial turf. So they will play the winner of McFarland Sierra because that one will be played at 6 o'clock tomorrow night as well. McFarland, go ahead and move it, Chris. They're on the road up at Toll House. We talked about that. That could be a tricky one because they are up in the hills. It's chilly. I mean, it's going to be cold tomorrow. It's going to be cold in the valley. It's going to be even colder up there tomorrow night.
No doubt about that. Yep. So that is the Division 5 picture.
Yep. So there's
that's your soccer.
There's soccer, and then girls in the D6 right there.
I want to say, as far as actual Bakersfield proper teams, Ridgeview's boys are the only team left, right? Everything else is ARVIN obviously is not too far out of Bakersfield
Ridgeview's
proper.
The only Bakersfield
the
proper,
only city school left is Ridgeview. Yep. Ridgeview's boys at this point. And so basketball is a different story. We'll talk more about that later. But what a night it's going to be in boys basketball, particularly tomorrow night for Kern County.
Yeah, because we can run through that now if you want to.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. Yeah, let's go through basketball slides as well, Chris, and we'll
start with girls.
Yeah, the girls' quarterfinals are tonight. And I shouldn't short shift the girls because they've got quite a few teams in these quarterfinals too. The only thing about D1 girls basketball is you kind of have to leave the caveat that, barring a complete meltdown miracle, Clovis West is going to win the girls' basketball section.
Well, when you look at it, they're
just so good.
Their average margin of victory in the regular season against section opponents was 50.1 points per game. Average margin of victory in 13 games against section opponents for Clovis West, including handling Stockdale a couple weeks ago. I mean, this is a generational team at Clovis West.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times by the time you get to a quarterfinal round in any Division I sport, it's competitive games. I don't care if it's a 1 versus 8. Those are good teams. But Stockdale and Clovis West played 2 weeks ago, and it was a 50-point game. Mm-hmm. And Stockdale probably didn't play its best game. But
I think it was like a 60-point game, 60, 70.
The point is, Stockdale is a huge underdog in this game. And great for them. They won a big game. Who'd they beat in the first round? Bullard? Yeah, they beat Bullard in the first round, so they deserve a lot of credit for that.
A late game winner, yeah.
Yeah, but Clovis West is just in its own league right now in Division 1. So moving on, that game will be up at Clovis West, and then Ridgeview. This should be a good game. They did play
the
earlier.
first time Ridgeview was up at home for 31 of the 32 minutes in this game, and then Central was able to hit a three-pointer late in the game to take the lead and won, and that's really why this game is being played in Fresno and not here in Bakersfield.
And I really kind of like this game from the perspective of both of these teams. Okay, the winner's going to face Clovis West. 99.9% chance of that if they're going to face Clovis West in the semis, and they'll probably lose. But because of that, this kind of almost feels like a championship game for these two teams. Whoever wins here can say they went as far as they possibly could. And so that's why this is a cool game, Ridgeview and Central tonight.
Yep.
The bottom half of the bracket in D1 is all Fresno County. In Division 2, in all Kern County quarters, Shafter and Independence. Shafter, competitive equity, getting moved up to D2, and hey, a good win for them in the first round, and now you got to compete with Independence, which is a power.
Yep. And Independence are the two-time defending section champs. They beat Bakersfield in the finals last year, and BHS, number 2 seed, hosting Tehachapi. I'll be out at this game. All games start at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll be out here for this one. So, Drillers and the Falcons are really looking for a collision course at Selland once again in the D2 finals. Moving on to D3, ARVIN having another great season, went undefeated in the SSL. They're at home tonight in the quarterfinals, hosting Sanger. And then on the bottom half of the bracket, an all Kern County matchup, number 3 Golden Valley hosting Frontier, who had the upset in Visalia.
Like
I do too. I like this game a lot. Frontier won 44-39 on the road. Golden Valley
Look out for Frontier.
Yeah, I mean,
they got a chance in this one.
Yep. And
tougher
Golden Valley
schedule all
finished
year
third.
long,
Yeah, in the SYL. In D4, the only team left is McFarland, and they're on the road tonight at KERMAN on the bottom half of the bracket. The winner here will most likely have to go through Strathmore to get to the final. Sierra Pacific on the top half of the bracket in D4 is the number 1 team. I've had them in the top 20 rankings almost the entire season. And then D5, we've got 3 teams left. Kern Valley, boom, at home. I love seeing High Desert League teams be able to host because it does give a totally different caveat because you're not having to travel anymore.
How many of those FOWLER players and parents have ever made that drive up to 178?
Probably.
They're going to have shaky legs by the time they get in the gym.
If they're fishermen, that's about it.
Yeah. Moving on, elsewhere, BCHS, which was in the finals last year, trying to get back.
Yep, and then Did I not put the Kennedy Carruthers in there?
Yeah, Kennedy on
the road at Carruthers.
And so girls quarters tonight and then semifinals Tuesday. They're trying to get the Selland Arena on March 3rd and 4th.
Yep.
As are the boys. They play their quarters tomorrow, semifinals Wednesday, and then the section finals at Selland Arena March 3rd and 4th. Boys, well, like we said, huge night in boys basketball. One of the bigger nights in recent memory for Kern County.
Yeah, Centennial is in there. They went on the road last night, beat Clovis East 61-57. Great win for the Golden Hawks when you think that Alec Check got 3 fouls within the first 4 minutes of the game.
And they still won the game.
And Hernan Santiago said, listen, we're not going to win if Alec's isn't on the court. And he gambled, and Check went almost till the second or 2 or 3 minutes left in the fourth before he got his 4th foul. And they pulled out the victory, and they're at Central. And that is not a gimme. That's what I love about Division I this year is that no game is a gimme. And then Liberty.
Yeah. And I'll be at that game at Centennial at Central tomorrow night, and then Clovers North Liberty. Oh, what a great matchup!
Oh, I love this
semifinal
game.
caliber matchup.
Yeah, last night Liberty, staved off a late run, big third quarter run by Sunnyside to win last night, and then Clovis North, really the only big blowout in Division I opening round, which there were plenty of games last night. They were the only ones. They blew out Clovis 67-42. So this is the 4-5 matchup. We'll have Steve Lynch at this one. That should be a really great game. And then there's the big one that I'm looking at, Stockdale, another one. Overtime victory, 74-72 over Buchanan on the road in overtime. And these two will match up for the 3rd time this season at BHS, who, sorry guys, should be the 1 seed.
Well, and I mean, look, that the seeding discussions, I think people had some good points. You made some good points last week about that. It's all over now. You got to go play.
Is. No, you got to go play basketball, and I don't think any coach is worried about that anymore. They just want to play some basketball. So here's likely the one chance for BHS to get a home game, unless Bullard beats Clovis West tomorrow night. BHS is going to go on the road up there.
And that's the other D1 quarterfinal, and it's Bullard and Clovis West. Let's go ahead and go through the rest of the boys basketball at the end of the show.
Okay.
Because we are up against a break here. We got Frontiers Wrestlers in the house. Masters Wrestling is the other thing going on this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday at Clovis High School. And so Frontier, a big weekend for them at the Yosemite Divisional last weekend. We will talk about that with Coach Kirkmore and a couple of his wrestlers right after this on BVarsity Live.